Hi everybody, I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.com.
And I'm not Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.com. I am, of course, Adam Nicholas. And we got some news for you today regarding Vince McMahon being in love with an NXT superstar.
We got the latest on Mauro Ranallo, who missed Survivor Series last night, and a bit of Twitter bother from one Cory Graves.
Indeed. And we also have the real reason why Kylie Rae left AEW.
This is the news, and no, I cannot do it like Mr. Wilborn. He's probably fast asleep at this moment. Why is he fast asleep? Simon Miller. It's because he was up last night watching the Survivor Series on the live stream with Phil Chambers and Adam Cleary, and we're going to talk a little bit about Survivor Series right here. Obviously, this story here is massive spoilers. Might already be in the title, so I might have screwed the pitch there. But in case it's not, I'm just going to put my hand up so you know.
I like this. This is a good little gimmick.
It's a good little gimmick, isn't it? Good. Maybe you need a better gesture than just that. Like, you know. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Survivor Series. Mute it now. When I take my hand down, you can unmute it. NXT killed everyone last night.
Yeah, they did.
It was something else in a bold, ballsy, to an extent, booking move. NXT ruled the roost. So I'm just going to take you through the results here of the brand versus brand matches, the brand supremacy nonsense, to let you see how the scorecards tallied up. So on the pre-show, on the kickoff show, we got Rudolph beating 9 other teams in some farty battle royal that I sure as hell didn't watch. 1-0 SmackDown.
I'll do the thing, go on.
Let's do it. NXT took the next W. Lio Rush defeated Kalisto and Akira Tozawa. NXT 1, SmackDown 1, Raw 0. Viking Raiders defeated the New Days. The New Days and Undisputed Era 1-1-1. NXT then took the lead, defeating the Raw and SmackDown women in that 5-on-5-on-5. He's got his tongue out. Elimination match. NXT 2, Raw 1, SmackDown 1. Roderick Strong extended the lead, defeating AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. NXT 3, Raw 1, SmackDown 1. And at this stage, the best Raw could do with 2 matches left on the table is draw. Next match, the SmackDown men overcame NXT and Raw. NXT 3, Raw 1, SmackDown 2. So it all came down to this last match. The best SmackDown could do here was draw, but they lost. Shayna Baszler defeated Bayley, and Becky Lynch, your final scorecard. NXT 4, Raw 1, SmackDown 2. A big night for the yellow and gold brand, triumphing over the main roster. More wins than both main roster brands combined. Good stuff. I hope you keep your analysis of this brief, Adam Nicholas, because my arm is sore from holding it up.
The only analysis I have to provide for this is... We can put it down now, I'm not going to say it. Excellent. What I will say is, anybody who follows ups and downs will know that there was a lot riding on this one between Simon Miller and Adam Cleary in terms of if overall SmackDown and Raw managed to beat NXT, Simon Miller wouldn't have to wear a clown costume, Adam Cleary would, and vice versa. And if you've obviously watched those results, you will now know who has to do that on your latest episode of Ups and Downs, so look forward to that. But yeah, this was lovely stuff, really good.
If there's one nitpick to have, and I won't spoil this, I'll keep it ambiguous, it's that the person who was standing tall to secure victory for their brand after the main event was then laid out by someone else. Just kind of like let the moment resonate. If you're going to put someone over, put them over strongly, and you know, it's kind of irritating when they do this kind of half-measured stuff, but at the end of the day, all that matters is the brand who won, and they did so
the brand
very
who
nicely.
won did it well and deserved it, and I'm sure you can't even guess who that was.
Hey,
lovely stuff. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Speaking of the brand who, that gives it away. Too late, everybody, because I'm going to tell you anyway. Vince McMahon is massively high, apparently, on an NXT superstar after last night. Now, spoilers again. I'm not going to hold my hand up, but there it is.
I'll do it.
You hold.
My arm's already really
here we
sore.
go. Why not? Just carry on. Apparently, this has filled my life with joy. Vince McMahon, and no surprises here as to why, is in love with Keith Lee after his performance last night at Survivor Series. Now, interesting, a lot of people probably would have, who maybe weren't familiar with NXT, would have seen Keith Lee and been excited, and it would have all made perfect sense. Anybody who's maybe watched NXT might have thought, interesting choice for who to have kind of the last person to make it on Team NXT before inevitably. You've got to put your hand up here for another. This is going to get competitive. Hey, we've done enough. Anyway, yes, SmackDown ended up winning. Roman Reigns ended up defeating Keith Lee. They were the last 2 men standing after what was a pretty good match, to be fair.
Yeah.
And all in all, the brand stuff kind of went the way you'd want it to go. NXT looked strong. Raw and Seth Rollins got pushed to one side, which was lovely to see. But yeah, Keith Lee looked fantastic. He looked like a real star, the star we've kind of been hoping for in NXT, but haven't quite had a chance to see yet. Well, we are now starting to see, only eventually. This is good stuff. Apparently this comes from, according to Brian Alvarez, who had messaged this both on Twitter and on the Wrestling Observer newsletter's private message board, and just sums up quite well. Vince loves Keith Lee. Why would he not? Why would he not?
He's a big beefy boy, is Beef Lee, so, you know,
Hey.
one little glimpse, if he feasts his eyes, I'm aware that it's not Dominik Dijakovic, on Keith Lee, straight away he's going to go, oh, look at that mask.
Absolutely.
So much beef.
He's like the perfect combination, I guess, of like charisma and the look, I guess, Vince likes in terms of a wrestler. And he does some crazy, amazing things and gets big pops, so happy days.
He does, like, that closing stretch really was amazing. I particularly loved Seth Rollins being like, I'm going to bring you down, and then immediately getting pinned. That was really good stuff. And the closing stretch with Roman was absolutely brilliant. Keith Lee got over, got made a star on one night. Really good to see, because his NXT career early on was very stop-start. He was jobbing out to guys like Lars Sullivan, and yeah, I get that you want to push Lars Sullivan, but Keith Lee is Keith Lee and does superhuman stuff.
Actually, let me just say, because I give him so much negativity these days, but Colby, my good man Colby, that's you, Seth, I'm talking to you. Fair play for putting over Keith Lee last night, because he didn't have to, and it's going to do wonders for him, I assume.
Yeah, it was great stuff. Really great conclusion to the match. Good on Keith Lee. I hope that whatever happens next, that Vince doesn't waver in his newfound love of this man, and that he gets to do things, because Keith Lee, by all accounts, is a lovely human being as well.
Oh, he seems like a lovely man, doesn't he?
Everyone here who worked with him for WCPW says he's just the best guy of all time. You get reports like this from backstage as well. Good on you, Beef Lee. I want you to see you doing your crazy do big man flips and stuff all over the place. Give him the belt. Why not?
Give him all the belt.
Give him the belt.
Why not?
We're going to move from a positive story to a bit of a negative one here now, unfortunately. So, Cory Graves, been a bit of a naughty boy on the old Twitter.com. Over the weekend, he tweeted the following during TakeOver War Games. Just for the record, guys, I know you wouldn't know it, but there's actually a WWE Hall of Famer and a former Ring of Honor champion on commentary. I'd imagine they have a lot to offer. Now, that's a rather thinly veiled subtweet. I think you can kind of figure out that one for yourself, who that's aimed at. And then he had another follow-up here. He was asked by a fan, Travis Riley, who said, I just turned on TakeOver. How many Chicago rap references has Mauro made so far? I've just assumed this guy's a fan. I don't actually know who he is. Sorry, Travis, if I'm disrespecting you there. Reply from Cory, far, far too many. Now, this coincided, unfortunately, with Mauro Ranallo deleting his Twitter account, and that's quite a big move, given how active on Twitter Mauro can be. The following night, we then got Mauro unfortunately missing Survivor Series, which Michael Cole said because he was so passionate and emotional at TakeOver War Games that he blew his voice out. But Brian Alvarez came in, a friend of the channel, Brian Alvarez, and then tweeted saying the following: if somehow you haven't heard, Mauro Ranallo won't be doing the show tonight as a result of Cory Graves' tweet. Now, if all of this is connected, this is, of course, a very bad look for Mr. Graves, given Mauro's, criticism, constructive criticism should always have a place with anyone's work, but obviously Mauro's mental health problems and stuff are very public. Everyone knows about them. He struggled with them in WWE in the past, and he's very open about them to his credit. However, I think the real problem here for me is there's a big professionalism question here. If you're Cory Graves, you can't go publicly crapping on a colleague's work on a public forum. I think if you have these concerns, you should raise them in the background and then take them from there. It's not a good look for WWE. People, they work for the same company. What's he doing? And at the end of this, I kind of hope that Mauro, although his work certainly isn't for everyone, and we've criticised him at the time when we felt it was warranted, but we don't work for WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference.
I think that's it. The big thing here is, yes, Cory Graves is absolutely entitled to his opinions. And I would even go as far to say at times, he might even have a point, because Mauro is very excitable. He's very good at what he does. But I guess maybe if someone like Beth Phoenix, who's still trying to find her feet, might not feel super confident enough to jump in front of him when he's... And there's nothing wrong with Mauro's references. For a few too many for me personally, every now and again. But the guy is fantastic. He's passionate at what he does, and it's going to happen from time to time. But for Cory Graves to do that in such a public forum, is just, it's not a good look.
Stupid.
Just speak to him privately if that's what you feel and you want to try and help him, if that's a constructive criticism. But to just do that on Twitter and then to follow up, to be tweeting a fan, this Travis guy and basically saying like far too many. That's worse for me because that's just pointed and it's
stupid.
It makes him look bad, doesn't it? It's nasty. It's a nasty way to go about it, and it makes him look bad.
It's not a good look. Let's hope that Mauro is indeed in a good place and able to return to TV on Wednesday.
Absolutely, yes, please. I would like to see that because we do like Mauro on our NXT. Our last story for today is about AEW's formerly AEW's Kylie Rae. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about why Kylie Rae left the company way back. Well, it must be a few months back now, but
August, yeah.
It all kind of just, from her being what was arguably one of the highlights of Double or Nothing to suddenly not being on the shows at all, and it all kind of looking a bit mysterious. She was given her release, lots of talk, the internet was rife with speculation, and I think a lot of people are going to owe some people apologies, as Mr. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful stated on Twitter yesterday, because Kylie Rae has finally came out, and obviously the one person who should be commenting about this has finally had something to say. Now, I'm not going to quote the whole thing because it's quite a lengthy post, but I will give you the gist of what she said on her Instagram account. She basically posted a comment, and the gist of it is, she said, "Nobody made me leave. AEW took my career to new levels. It's a great group of people who truly love wrestling and just want everyone to succeed. I've always tried to be a good person, but I make many mistakes along the way. I needed to get my mind, body and soul right with God." So despite a lot of, and there was a lot, various speculation about like things that had happened backstage with certain members. Other people, including Brandy Rhodes, were being criticised for perhaps potentially bullying out of the company, which came out of wildly came out of nowhere. But it seems like Kylie Rae has come out and set the record straight here, Andy Murray.
Yeah, very good. Love to hear this because like it's been months and months of speculation ever since the story first broke, and you know, like a lot, and it's kind of understandable that this happened because there wasn't a lot of information forthcoming. Tony Khan said it was amicable and so forth, but when trying to get to the bottom of this, and nobody worked harder to try and get more information on this than Sean Ross Sapp, you should be credited for this, but there wasn't anything forthcoming, and this led to, like, there was a lot of know-it-alls on Twitter and stuff going, oh, well, when the real story comes out, you're gonna learn the tea or whatever, some nonsense. Thank you for putting this to rest, Kylie Rae. I hope her mind, body, and soul are indeed in a better place, as she says in her Instagram, and it's good to see her back and active in wrestling. She's been working for Freelance, her old home promotion. She's been working for Impact. She's done a few dates for them. Joey Ryan's Bar Wrestling. Good to see her back in action, and you know, she's a young wrestler, she's an up-and-comer. I think she's still going to go very big places in this business. Very, very good.
She's a fantastic wrestler. Absolutely. Hopefully she can just get back to doing what she's very good at. And everybody else can just go and mind their own damn business.
Indeed. Keep your nose out.
Indeed.
Twitter questions. First one comes from Johnny Grind, who has two sharks in his thing. He asks, I'm not trying to take away from the victory for NXT, but do you think that NXT came out the victor to give their program a bit more of a push for the hashtag Wednesday Night War? I'll keep my answer very short. Yes.
Indeed. I would also go as far to say yes, and I don't think it's any coincidence that we also saw SmackDown essentially getting second place on the podium as well. Both brands are obviously in the public eye a lot more than they were previous, and this is a good look. And let's be honest, NXT should be there. This is a reflection of where the brands are in real life, in my opinion. And it's nice to see Vince McMahon. I wonder how long Triple H had to talk with Vince to try and convince him to do this. I really do. But who cares? They did it, and it's great.
Yeah, they pulled it off. I think that, you know, while I answered kind of cynically there with yes, I don't think this is a bad, like, I think this is a really good idea from WWE because if they want to milk as much stuff out of that Wednesday Night War as possible and try and beat AEW in the ratings on a more consistent basis, it's a good shout to put more eyes on it on the big pay-per-view. So,
and surely narratives, that adds narratives for the future as well. Like, literally the developmental brand, if you will, came up and whooped the floor
like a bag of
all
balls.
of the other brands.
They did indeed. Stuff. Next question here comes from David James Mackay.
Hello, David. David James.
David James, yeah.
Hello.
Former England goalkeeper. Hope your handling's a little bit better than the real one. Who asks, he's kind of ran through the situation here and said WWE has put more of a focus on the Wednesday Night War than on SmackDown and Fox in the contract. Do you think that not having SmackDown win overall is a mistake?
I'll keep this one short. No,
I don't think it is either, but I do think it's kind of indicative of where their priorities lie at the moment. I think they're kind of, the SmackDown on Fox ratings haven't been good, but they haven't been great. But I think they're quite content to just let that simmering along, and I think Fox are probably quite content with what they're getting out of the demographic at the moment. So
I think as long as Fox are happy, WWE would be happy. It's the same situation they've got with the USA Network. The one thing I would say is, it's no surprise Vince is putting stock in NXT because there's competitive nature there against AEW, and he wants to win, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. Final question comes from RC, who asks,
Hello, RC.
Should WWE consider making Survivor Series the December pay-per-view? Then Tories, I assume he means stories, then Tories and feuds can wrap up beforehand.
Hey, if you're going to wrap up the Tories, mate, then I guess, yeah, put it into December. I'm all for it.
I mean, they will be wrapped up when they lose the election. They're not going to lose the election. I don't know. Let's not talk politics on this goddamn show.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Should they
I'm so lost in the just run that again.
Should WWE consider making the Survivor Series the December pay-per-view? Then Tories and feuds can wrap up beforehand.
I like it where it is, to be honest. I think my brain has only just, after all these years, finally started to get used to the pattern of pay-per-views. So if we can keep it somewhere in the right idea where we have it now, I'll be happy with that. I also kind of like that in December, you know you've got TLC coming. It's kind of that pay-per-view where something stuff's going to happen on the build towards then the Royal Rumble and Mania and Elimination Chambers and all that sort of thing. So I'm kind of happy with where it is.
I would actually like to see it in December.
Interesting.
I would like them to, and a few people have tweeted at me with this suggestion, and we've spoken about it on the news. I would like Survivor Series to feel more like an all-star game instead of this brand supremacy nonsense. Instead of having people invade and all this stuff, because it's so contrived. You know it's coming every single year. You know the exact week when it's going to kick off, and it kind of undermines a lot of what they're trying to do in the heat they build and so forth. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. You can have this palate cleansing pay-per-view in December where it's just fun matches, fun exhibition matches. Let's see how these people do against each other that they wouldn't normally wrestle. And you know, the December pay-per-view for me, like I'm in Christmas mode by then, and usually if there's story-based stuff going on, I'm like, I don't give a hoot about this feud, man. I just want to eat turkey and pull crackers and stuff. So yeah, I feel that'd be a nice, cool, relaxing December watch. But let us know what you think down in the comment section below. And finally, you remember on AEW Dynamite, we had that rather, I didn't like this, but they had the suck it Vince sign in the front row. Yeah. Didn't like that, thought it was a bit silly, thought someone should have confiscated that if they were serious indeed about this anti-WWE signage being removed, but never mind.
Almost like they're not.
There was exactly. There was a really weird clapback on last night's Survivor Series pay-per-view. I can only presume that this sign was held up by Michael Hamflett, who was at the show. Here it is. It says, "Hey Tim, AEW sucks."
Sucks.
Being held up by this fella here.
By Michael Hamflett. Is that the guy? Is that the guy with the beard and the long hair with his mum?
As we know him, Michael Hamflett. So nice. I like that. Hey Tim, AEW
He's passed
sucks.
it down to him from like the back. Oh, you put this.
I'll tell you what. I'll take that over Suck It Vince every single time.
I mean, this is. I know people love the wars and stuff. This stuff isn't. It's tacky. It's cheap.
Getting a bit much, isn't it? It's getting a bit much.
I think I remember the one time I always kind of remember these signs ever having a real impact is that one where Bischoff's got the Vince Spears the ratings or whatever it was. Like that. Yeah, I don't know. People are entitled to bring whatever they want. Fine. Yeah. Suck at Vince, and it did pop us on the night. I'll be honest.
I like this one.
It popped me, it did pop me. But hey, Tim as
well.
Hey,
Tim, AEW sucks.
Hey, Tim, by the way, buddy.
I saw someone suggest on Reddit that on the next WWE show, someone's gonna have a sign saying Tony Khan loves sneezing. Which obviously go down very well with Vince McMahon. Anyway, let us know what kind of weird signs you want to see. And also, we're finished now, so podcast, you can listen to this on the podcast.
Where you going?
Channeling Blaine Smith from Banger TV.
What a very specific reference.
You can throw all your comments and likes and shares and all that stuff. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Please send us your questions. Don't know if we'll be back in the afternoon. Depend what kind of news shows up. But you can follow Adam Nicholas on Twitter as well.
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow this lovely man on Twitter at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for haven't got one.
Good.
Bye.
Well, there you are.